Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. You know, my dad always told me that, son, anytime you think you got it really bad, you usually don't have to look too far to find someone who's got it far worse than you. And lately, I've been using the state of Illinois for that therapeutic relief because as bad as we have it here in Washington, candidly, no state hates its citizens more than the state of Illinois. But I'll tell you a close second. A really close second, and one that actually has a much longer and richer history and tradition of doing this to the citizens. And of course, that's the state of California. And as we approach the beginning of 2024, we know that there is a new law going into effect. That is Senate Bill 2. It's going to radically reform all of California's already unconstitutional gun laws. Well, the Attorney General and the State Department of Justice has come out with some new regulations. And once again, the state of California is up to absolutely dirty, nefarious, sinister tricks, all to disarm the lawful and responsible citizen in the state of California. Don't believe me? I'm going to share with you what they did, and I'm going to also tell you you have very little time to try to stop this. So today, let's spend a few minutes, California, and let's geek out and talk about California's dirtiest gun control trick yet. Okay, before we get going too far down the road, we're going down, doing a video about California. You guys who geek out on the channel knows what that means. That means we're going to give a shout out to our first ever California subscriber, Philip P. Philip P, who's been on board since day one with Washington Gun Law, has been spreading the gospel down there. Philip P, thanks for everything. This video is for you. Okay, so we are talking about California Senate Bill 2. Now, this is the Bruin response bill in California, and you can only imagine how the state of California has responded to it. And we've already done several videos on it, and amongst the litany of new changes, all of which California is going to help save lives, thanks to your governor, one of the things is that every individual needs to go through training, live fire training, before they can then apply for the privilege of getting a concealed carry license. Now, California was one of the states that got completely smacked down by Bruin, and their reaction was, let's just come up with more obstructive barriers to put in place for our residents. Now, obviously, live fire training can be difficult for a lot of people, and I will point out that there is no other constitutional law where one has to demonstrate their proficiency. I certainly know I would love to give a lot of people here in Washington State a sample ballot, see them fill it out, and make sure they're proficient enough to actually vote in the real election. But nope. You see, that's not how constitutional rights normally work, unless, of course, you're in the state of California. Now, you want to know what would make this thing even more nefarious, more sinister, more evil than what it already is if you, I don't know, figured out a way to completely limit any California resident from getting live training. That would be really sinister and evil, wouldn't it? Well, guess what, California? Yeah, your State Department of Justice is doing exactly that, because your Attorney General, Rob Bonta, has published new emergency regulations. And I want you to remember that I said emergency regulations, because as we know, Senate Bill 2 is going into effect January 1st. Now, even though the state, and this is again another one of their dirty tricks, okay? Even though the state has known for quite some time now that Senate Bill 2 was going to be going into effect January 1st, they didn't get around to publishing their new regulations until the middle of December. With what short time before the implementation of the law means this is, of course, an emergency making order, which means California, you have only until December 15th to make a public comment about it. And yes, we will link up down below how you can do it. Now, this is what the state of California has done. As you probably know, as part of this live fire training that you must do before you get to go then apply for a concealed carry license, the training obviously has to be offered by a state-certified, state-sanctioned, state-approved training facility. Now, amongst that, there obviously is some government-run organizations, law enforcement agencies, things such as that. But there are also private instructors, including NRA-certified instructors. Probably one of the largest tasks that the NRA is still effective at is actually training. NRA instructors have a tendency to be excellent firearms trainers. And so if you have the audacity to go out and want to exercise what is supposed to be an inalienable right, if you're living in a city in California that's suddenly gone to hell in a handbasket on you, and you want to be able to exercise your right of self-preservation, you would need to go through training. But you see, what the Attorney General has done is he has now stricken from the regulations any type of privately sanctioned training, including those by NRA instructors. Now, how did the state of California actually effectuate this change? Well, it's real simple. You see, on the Department of Justice application to become a state certified firearms instructor, there is a new section right there which has you attest to where you received your qualifications to be an instructor yourself. And if you don't fit within one of the 3 boxes that they have, of which private instructors, NRA instructors, and all that will never fit into any one of the 3, well then, you see, you can't be an instructor. Don't believe me? This is how the application reads. Pursuant to Penal Code Section 26165, Subdivision A4, and California Code of Regulations Title 11, Section 4410, a carry concealed weapon Department of Justice certified instructor applicant must be certified by one of the following entities. Select one training entity below. Initial applicants must attach a copy of the certification. Okay, so unless you received your training from one of these 3 places and you have proof in writing, you cannot become an instructor. The choices are Bureau of Secretary and Investigative Services, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, Firearm Training Instructor. Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, State of California, Firearm Instructor or Rangemaster. Authorization from a State of California accredited school to teach firearms training course. And unless you fall into one of those 3 categories, well, then you no longer get to be an instructor. So you can see California, what Rob Bonta and everybody has done to you is they have now made the training that you need in order to get a concealed carry license virtually impossible to obtain. And then what happens, of course, when all of these jurisdictions go, gosh, you know, I mean, with all the budget constraints we have, we can't even process any of our CCW applications. We don't have any officers or facilities or resources to put on training. So you can see where this is going. This is just yet another way of choking all of you out from your inalienable rights. Now, here's the important thing, California. I'm taping this the evening of December 12th. I will get it out to you the morning of December 13th. This is now an emergency rulemaking order which has shortened the time for public comments. How convenient. So listen, you have only through December 15th to make comments. That's just in the next couple of days. We are going to link up down below in the description box how you can make those comments. So once again, this all deals with the implementation of Senate Bill 2 going into effect January 1st of this year. There are new regulations, which basically is going to mean that you will no longer be able to obtain the necessary training to apply for a concealed carry license. We will keep our eyes on this story. There will be more developments. The state of California will certainly do something more nefarious in the near future. If you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. Now let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.